You are now watching The Beach.
Welcome to a very special episode of Mario Kart Origins. This series went over and reviewed every Mario Kart, including the Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix games, Mario Kart Tour, and Mario Kart Live Home Circuit as well. And this special episode of Mario Kart Origins might just be one of the most anticipated videos I've ever made. I was lucky enough to get selected for the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in Dallas, Texas. I got to play the Nintendo Switch 2 and its games early, and one of those games was Mario Kart World. I don't think I've ever seen a game simultaneously as anticipated yet controversial as Mario Kart World. This is a game that's been anticipated for nearly 11 years. When it was revealed, it was pure hype. But once news got out about the pricing, that soured the hype. But I would argue that nothing burger of a Mario Kart World Direct was even more detrimental. Combine that with the concerns about long stretches between tracks, the open world looking empty, the lack of battle modes, and there only being 30 tracks, and that has led to a lot of concern and skepticism about Mario Kart World. So considering I had the platinum opportunity to play Mario Kart World early, I wanted to share with you guys if the concerns are valid. And considering I've been waiting nearly 11 years for a new Mario Kart, I was just so hyped to play it early. I have now played every Mario Kart game except for Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix VR. Fun fact, I actually played Mario Kart 8 2 weeks early at a GameStop back in 2014. And I played Mario Kart Tour early back in May of 2019 during the beta test. It was also during an incredible trip to Greece too. And now, I played Mario Kart World early in Texas. I might just be destined to play Mario Kart games early, which is the perfect opportunity for you to subscribe and ring that bell to get the notification when I play Mario Kart Cosmic Universe a decade from now early. Also make sure to join channel memberships as you can watch videos early and get exclusive perks. I got to play a good amount of Mario Kart World at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience, and I kept questions you guys asked in mind while playing it. But after playing it and letting everything soak all in, whoo boy! It's much more nuanced than you think. I'm not the type of reviewer to say, it's just my opinion, because you guys already know that. But considering how common actual Nintendo hate channels are now, I just want to make it perfectly clear that these are my genuine thoughts after playing Mario Kart World. And when I bring up negative aspects, they're not forced. Part of being a reviewer is acknowledging both the positive and negative aspects of a game. And if you know me, I don't hold anything back. I think it's clear I love Nintendo because if I didn't, I wouldn't have flown out to Texas to go to the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. So the question is, are the concerns about Mario Kart World real? And could the game itself end up being a disappointment? Starting up Mario Kart World, you're greeted to the new title screen. Considering most recent Nintendo title screens have just been a static image, it's really refreshing seeing something more lively. It reminds me of the excellent title screens of the GameCube and Wii era. The roster in the demo consisted of all the staple Mario Kart characters, a few of the new characters, and a lot of costumes. There was not a button to sort them in the demo, but I know how it works because it was in an ad for Mario Kart World. When you sort, it gives the characters and all their costumes pages, so it's more organized. But it's still messy, and Mario Kart 8's neat character selection screen they should have gone with instead. The first character I ever played as in Mario Kart 8 was Larry Koopa. That memory has stayed with me ever since I played Mario Kart 8 early, and I wanted my first choice to be just as impactful for Mario Kart World. My plan was to have Spike be my first playable character. He's been one of my most wanted characters in both Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. But he was not in the demo. Pianta was my second choice, but he wasn't in the demo either. In fact, most of the new characters weren't playable in the demo. What I decided to do was opt for characters that didn't have a lot of gameplay footage. Everybody was playing as a cow, but I wanted to do something different. I consulted with Toon Triss and asked which characters don't have much footage or any at all. So a huge thanks to Toon Triss for all the info. My first character in Mario Kart World was Lakitu. Lakitu is one of my favorites in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and he's the mascot of Mario Kart. What's interesting is that this Lakitu has a classic green shell, and isn't the Mario Kart exclusive red shell Lakitu. I'm hoping that the red shell version is a costume though. Gotta say, I'm very happy with my choice for my first Mario Kart World character. But I also had to play as Nabbit, considering he's been a character I've wanted in a major Mario Kart game since Mario Kart 8. Part of me wanted Spike for the memes, but I wanted Nabbit because he's genuinely one of my favorite characters. Considering Mario Kart World's whole gimmick with the roster is having every enemy and any enemy playable, you would think the demo would do a better job showcasing the absurd roster, but the selection of enemies was limited, and you're going to notice limited is going to be a theme throughout this demo. After selecting a character, it was time to race. The first part of the demo had you playing a track in the Grand Prix. Nintendo paired up 2 players, and it was me against Riders DX. He played as Matsuri Yoshi. The first track we played was Faraway Oasis. Playing Mario Kart World for the first time, I wanted to see how the game felt to control. It feels pretty much identical to Mario Kart 8, and that game was very similar to Mario Kart 7. At first, I was surprised the physics were pretty much the same, but considering how robust Mario Kart 8's physics are, why fix what isn't broken? One improvement is that you no longer need to hold the ZL button to hold items. This is definitely a quality of life improvement, but it might catch you off guard the first time you play. There were times where I wasn't even aware I had an item, since I wasn't even holding onto the ZL button, but I wanted to know the most what the new mechanics were like. Mario Kart World's new mechanics are wave racing, rail grinding, wall jumping, and flying. I was interested to see how wave racing would feel the most. You would think it would just be as easy as pressing ZR to trick when you jump on a wave, but the timing needs to be a bit more accurate than it was to trick in 8 Deluxe. I didn't really feel much racing over the waves, but that also could be due to the biggest problem of the demo. Nintendo forced you to use smart steering while playing it. It goes beyond preventing you from falling off the tracks. It repels you like a magnet even when you're not even that close to a ledge. When I went to grab some dash food, I was repelled away from it because of the stupid smart steering, and it made my gameplay worse because I'm not used to it and never use it for 8 Deluxe. The rail grinding is a feature that really isn't suited for a demo. There is a bit of a learning curve to it, and the good news is that rail grinding will add some skill to Mario Kart, which is much appreciated. But like with wave racing, the demo did not do it justice, and since rail grinding and wall jumping go hand in hand, the same applies there. The planes are exactly like the gliders in Mario Kart 8 with one difference: you can trick at any time during your duration in the air. The gliding sections felt more like transitions without much gameplay, but the planes give you a bit more to do even if it's just doing tricks. Mario Kart World has quite a few new items. I was able to check out 2 of them. The Kamek item summons Kamek to use his magic. The effect is usually summoning enemies and turning players into that enemy. It's definitely unique, but not that useful. It creates obstacles for you to run into, so you have to be careful. It's really more of a novelty. Though I really hope this doesn't mean Kamek won't be playable. He's been through so much to get his license. Don't take it away from him. The second item I tried was the dash food. This gives you a speed boost and sometimes a costume. This is an odd item. No matter who you play as, you're going to get a speed boost. But some characters don't change costumes. The costumes you get are tied to the theme of the track and aren't randomized. None of the new characters have costumes. And sometimes, even the mainstays don't get costumes. Donkey Kong is confirmed to have at least one costume, but when he ate some ice cream, he only got a speed boost. It's a fun idea, but it's not executed well. I get every character won't have a costume, but why even have costumes be a part of this item if not all characters can take full advantage of it? Character-specific special items are fine, but it's weird that there's such an inconsistency with the Dash Foods effect. The new mechanics have potential to be great, the demo just didn't do them justice, but as for two of the new items, they resort to mostly being a novelty and not having the greatest implementation, but the most important aspect of Mario Kart is with the tracks. Mario Kart World is different than any other Mario Kart when it comes to tracks. You have your standard tracks, but a new feature is that part of the Grand Prix involves driving to the track itself, also known as intermissions between tracks. The way the demo worked is that the first 2 laps consisted of driving to the track, and the final lap was the track itself. This right here is one of the most concerning aspects of Mario Kart World. Would these intermissions be boring to play through? And I have the answer to that after playing the game. I think what Nintendo went for with the intermissions is trying to have the tracks feel more immersive and interconnected, and maybe to showcase the scope of these tracks, but actually playing on them? It's exactly what you guys were concerned about. There's not a lot going on during these intermissions at all. Occasionally you'll see something interesting like a zebra running, but it's not engaging. It limits action to just using items, and not really actual driving. It works better in Knockout Tour, but for the Grand Prix, it is not a good feature. And because they took up 2/3 of the tracks went by way too fast. It's hard to get an impression when you only play 1 lap of each track. I can say with confidence that the intermissions do not enhance the gameplay at all, and once you're done with the Grand Prix, you will never want to have them on. Though from what we played of the actual tracks, they were really good. Pretty much what you'd expect from Mario Kart. I unfortunately didn't get as much of an impression with the tracks as I would have liked, but I will say though, the theming is really cool. I liked how Faraway Oasis is themed around Africa and has animals. The animals are also designed to look like Mario characters, which is really cool. And I like how Salty Salty Speedway's beach reminds me of Rio. It's kind of like how Mario Kart Tour's tracks were based on real-world cities, but this time around, there's that Mario flair, which is a perfect segue into my thoughts about the presentation. Mario Kart World is the first Nintendo game to be in 4K. This is Nintendo's first major technological jump since the Wii U's jump to HD in 2012, and considering just how damn good Mario Kart 8 still looks, my expectations were very high in terms of the presentation. Playing Mario Kart World, there's definitely a noticeable improvement when it comes to the graphics. The main upgrade is with the characters. All the characters have been stylized to resemble classic 2D Mario artwork. We've seen this new art direction since Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and seeing it for the first time in a 3D game is incredible. All the characters have so much personality, and it makes the presentation much livelier. My favorite redesigns are with the enemies. Taking a look at Lakitu, Birdo, and Koopa Troopa specifically, they do an excellent job capturing that classic Mario artwork and translating it into 3D. When it comes to the presentation of the actual tracks and environments, it's a bit different than Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 had a focus on realism, whereas Mario Kart World does have some realism, but the art direction is a lot more cartoony. Mario Kart World is a stellar looking game, with vivid colors, excellent character design, and a ton of personality. But if I'm being real with you, Mario Kart World didn't blow my mind with the graphics like the first time when I saw Mario Kart 8. Some of the track textures look a bit flat. I think a hint of realism could have made the graphics look more impressive. This is definitely a hot take, but I think a little realism in Mario games goes a long way. Mostly with the environments. Mario Kart 8, for example, was a perfect blend of realistic and cartoony. Sometimes it can be jarring, like having realistic humans in New Donk City. In retrospect, I'm not really a fan of that, and I certainly do not want Nintendo games to look like those mid-2010s Unreal Engine demos. But when cartoony and realistic are balanced together, that's when Nintendo games look the most impressive. If Mario Kart World had just a bit more realism, it would have looked more next-gen. Bandai Namco helped with Mario Kart 8, and they made all the Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix games, but while Mario Kart World still looks stunning, it's definitely a new art direction, and I don't think Bandai Namco was involved with it. You can also partially attribute my thoughts to two factors. I've seen the trailer so many times that I'm used to how incredible the game looks, so the wow factor was when I saw the reveal trailer. But it's also a testament to how good Mario Kart 8 still looks. Music, on the other hand, not only are there some excellent new compositions, but it also has a ton of remix tracks based on classic Mario music. You have songs from Super Mario 64, Super Mario 3D Land, and even Bowser's Fury. There's a lot more as well. You're getting the best of both worlds here. Regardless of any of my concerns, Mario Kart World is going to have a fire soundtrack. Mario Kart World is an excellent looking game, even if I would have liked it to have a bit more of a balance between realistic and cartoony, just like Mario Kart 8. That way it could have looked even more next gen. But the final aspect of the demo is with the modes. The Grand Prix was a total bust, but there was also Knockout Tour. This is essentially a Battle Royale mode. Nintendo linked up 24 players, and from there, the competition started. I did not do well. I went to grab some dash food, and that resulted in my earlier than I'd like demise. What, is Mario Kart World trying to teach me a lesson about how gluttony is bad? Kinda like how Action 52 taught you that taking money was bad? I did beat Riders DX though, unsurprisingly. He's a Taylor Swift fan though, so he lost before it even started. Even though I didn't get to play much of it, it's a really cool idea for a mode, and I could easily see it taking off. I'm a bit surprised Mario Kart hasn't had something like this sooner, but I'm glad it's here. But while I was waiting for Knockout Tour to be set up, I got to try out Free Roam for a bit. Now this was essentially the free roam used for a waiting room, so it could be different from the final free roam. I'm used to a waiting room where they make you read old magazines, but if this isn't just a waiting room, I gotta be real. It is pretty empty. There are characters, but you don't really interact with them outside of jumping on them. That question panel I found did not do anything in the demo, but I know what it does. It gives you a decal you can use to customize your cart. I did not get to try out any of the missions though. My main concern is that free roam will essentially just be doing missions and collecting decals. Essentially, mindlessly driving around until you find something to do or collect. There wasn't much to do in the portion of the free roam that I played. But again, there's a disclaimer of this being a demo. It could end up being amazing, or it could end up being barren. Free roam is really something I can't judge until the game is out. I see the potential for it to be great though. I did not get to check out time trials or the battle mode if you're wondering. The reality is that most of your time with Mario Kart World will be spent playing the tracks in versus mode. The tracks are likely going to be great, but considering there's only 30 and how we've been used to 48 tracks at least with 8 Deluxe, I'm concerned they might get repetitive faster. But at the very least, Knockout Tour is really cool, and free roam could either be great or barren. But the Grand Prix, I have a feeling I won't enjoy much. So far we've established that Mario Kart World has a great presentation, some interesting new modes, questionable new items, and the intermissions are not a good feature. So what's the verdict after playing the demo? You would think hyping up a new Mario Kart after 11 years without a new major entry would be the easiest task in the world, but with this demo, it seems like Nintendo is doing everything in their power to make Mario Kart World look bad. They forced you to use smart steering, and it was locked to 100cc, which made the game feel slower than it actually is. You can't get Ultra Mini Turbos with smart steering either, so it's even more detrimental than just limiting freedom of movement. They also did not have enough new characters playable in the demo, and not having actual 3-lap tracks playable in the demo was a bummer. Really, Knockout Tour was the only thing that wasn't fully gimped in the demo. The Mario Kart World demo itself, I'm sorry to say this, and I can't stress enough I'm only talking about the demo and not the full game, but it gets the ranking of trash. It did not do a good job leaving a good first impression, and if Nintendo ever demos another Mario Kart game, I hope they let you play the game normally. It's kinda like if they demoed Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but you couldn't use the badges and were forced to play as Nabbit. Now I know what some might be thinking. All the issues that I listed here are only because the demo itself was bad, and that they won't be a problem in the final game. But the thing is, even without smart steering and even without 100cc, you could still have problems like the empty open world, and you're still going to have the big problem of the boring intermissions between tracks. But the thing is, how do I think the game is going to turn out? That is something I have a better understanding of after playing the game. I can say with almost certainty that Mario Kart World at the very least will be a good game. Playing the actual tracks the classic way in Versus mode will be a good time, and the new mechanics are likely going to be fun too. You might not have seen it in the Mario Kart World Direct, but there is a part where Birdo is doing some rail grinding and wall jumping and accessing new paths. This could add a lot of depth to the tracks, and Nintendo is not doing a good job showcasing stuff like that. Now, the new mechanics like rail grinding and wall jumping take a little bit of skill and have a learning curve, like I said before, so the demo just couldn't do those justice, and I'm sure what's there of the battle mode will be fun. And for free roam, it could go either way. At worst, it'll serve as a hub world to do missions and collect decals, but at best, it could be very engaging and bring a lot of depth to the game. If you were expecting a revolutionary game like how The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was for Zelda, or how Super Mario Odyssey was for Mario, I'm not entirely convinced Mario Kart World will live up to that degree, and I certainly do not think it's going to be worth $80 at all. But at the very least, Mario Kart World will be a fun game with a decent amount of content. I don't know what the hell Nintendo is doing marketing Mario Kart World. They set the standard extremely high, considering it's going to be the most expensive standard game on the market. Then they said, wait for the Mario Kart World Direct to see why it's worth $80, only to reveal pretty much nothing. And the demo they had was detrimentally gimped and did not leave a great first impression. We'll have to see if they're just fumbling hard with the advertising and demo, or if the game is actually lacking. What I'm assuming is the former, but I could see it being viewed as an underwhelming game due to the 11-year wait, the fact that it's the most expensive game on the market, the questionable design choices, and if free roam ends up feeling empty. Mario Kart World's demo did not showcase what made it worth the 11-year wait. But another game demo at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience that's also been anticipated for 11 years did a much better job hyping me up. Tune into the next episode covering the Nintendo Switch 2 experience, where I share my first impressions of Donkey Kong Bananza. I'm gonna cover pretty much all the games that I played there, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and keep calm and da-da on.